What's a chunk of?
I mean, what city is it? Where is it? What is it? When did he see it? I'm left with lots and lots of questions. This is very strange. All right, so I'm going to prove to you that Abraham saw it as a day. That he didn't see a land, a physical land. He didn't see even a physical city. And he didn't see a physical day, really, but he saw a day. All right, let's go to John 8. (8:56).
And he walked out by faith.
Right?
Sure did.
He lech by faith. All right, John 8:56. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my, what does it say?
Day.
My day, and he saw it and was glad.
I almost want to say Abraham was an idealist.
Yeah, he was a dreamer.
Yeah, the dreamer.
His head was in the clouds.
That's okay. That's a good thing.
You know what?
So, hold on. So did you catch that? Who's talking here? Yeshua. And Yeshua says Abraham saw my day. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that Abraham saw Yeshua?
He saw the day.
I'm going to put a cross right here because this is the year 4000 when Yeshua died. So does that mean that he saw Abraham's back here around the year 2000? Actually, back before that. No, that's right. Around 2000. So he saw the time, the day of Yeshua, I guess.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I would.
Yes or no?
Or he saw the day of the Lord.
You don't agree with that?
I think he saw both.
I think he saw the seventh day.
Or maybe, maybe we could do both.
Both.
That he saw the day of the Lord. My day. The day of the Lord. Who's the Lord? Yeshua is the Lord. So he saw my day, the day of the Lord. I believe he saw Yeshua. I believe he saw his death, his burial. When he did the Akedah and he bound his son, he saw Yeshua. And he saw his death. Because he said, I and the lad will return to you.
Right.
Even though he fully intended to kill him. So he knew he was going to be resurrected. And he saw the resurrection of Yeshua. He saw the death and the burial and the resurrection of Yeshua. So I believe he saw the day of Yeshua. And I believe he saw the day of the Lord.
Sure.
I think he saw both.
Right there in 56. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw. It doesn't say it. And he saw and was glad. Just like the blinders are removed, he saw.
He saw.
He saw what he was to look for.
The only question I'm left with is, when did he see it?
Right.
Did he see it at the Akedah? Did he see it when he went into Canaan? Did he see it when he ascended up to Jerusalem to do the Akedah? Did he see it late at the Oaks of Moreh? Did he see it in Beersheba? Did he see it? Where did he see it? Did he see it when he was descending to Egypt to go down there? When did he see it? I think it's lech lecha. I think when God said, go to the land I will show you, right then he saw the day of the Lord. That's what I believe. I can't prove it yet, but that's what I believe. Yes, sir.
Resh Aleph is the word to see, right?
Yes, Resh Aleph is see.
So now you have the head of the leader.
Oh, the head of the one.
The head of the one. The head of God.
The
The
head of
of
God.
Yod-Heh Vav-Heh.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Hebrews again. I didn't put a marker in Hebrews like I was told to by myself. Hebrews 12. I truly believe that when God said, go to yourself, go to the land I will show you, I think right then he saw the day of the Lord.
You know, can I just say?
Sure.
It kind of
Please.
reminds me of like if you're looking for a house and you don't know where you're going. But once you get on that property, it's like this is it.
I'll know it when I see it.
You know it when you see it.
Okay, Hebrews 12, verse 22. But you, talking about the believers, we have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, Oh, now we got more words. He was told to go to a land. It said in Hebrews he was looking for a city. Now what does it call it here?
The Mount of Zion, heavenly Jerusalem, the city of the living God.
City of the living God. So it calls it here a city too. I'm going to add
City and a mountain.
Zion.
Mount Zion, city of living
Mount Zion.
heavenly
I'm
Jerusalem.
going to add that. This is what Abraham was looking for. This is what Abraham saw. The heavenly, well, we got a city. We have heavenly city. So what I'm trying to do is to find what he was looking for. And I didn't write it down. What did it say in John that he was looking for? What did it say in John that he saw?
The day.
What?
The day.
The day. So these are all the things that God showed him. He showed him the land, the city, Zion, the day. It's all the same thing. Okay. Now we're going to come to this word right here, al. But if you're going to say it, you got to say it right. So I'm going to help you. Look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me. You have to do a guttural click. Watch. Al. Al. Al.
I can't.
You can try. Al. Okay, the word Gaza and the word Gomorrah, it's not Gaza and it's not Gomorrah. It's Gaza and Gomorrah. When you go to Israel and you see the signs, it doesn't say Gaza. It says Gaza with a little apostrophe, A-Z-A. And it doesn't say Gomorrah. It says with a little apostrophe, Mora.
Okay.
Why?
And it's not Yeshua either. It's Yeshua. Yeshua. I can't even do it.
Yeshua.
Or Yeshua. Yeshua.
Sugar.
Yeshua. Lovely, huh? So this word, al, I'll soften it for you, al, is what we're going to talk about. It means on or above. On or above.
Is that a T or not quite?
It's a vowel.
Oh, that's a vowel. This thing, that's a vowel point. It's a vowel. That's the sound ah. Ah. Ah.
Sound A-H.
That's a vowel. Oh. Okay. So, obviously, there's a city of Jerusalem that ain't the city of Jerusalem. And there's a land of Israel that ain't the land of Israel. Right? It's all the kingdom. This is why the Jews said there's two Jerusalems. There's one below, there's one above. And they directly correspond to each other. This one above is the one that Abraham saw. And he was like always looking for it. That's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. And it's also the kingdom.
Wow.
So it's a time period, but it's also a place, sort of. This is starting to look kind of garbled. So we have a Jerusalem above. And we have, this is the city walls, by the way. And we have a Jerusalem below. And they directly correspond to each other. One is directly above the other. The one above is called Yerushalayim Me'olah. The one below is called Yerushalayim Ma'ata. Or sorry, Mata. There's no apostrophe. Mata. The one above, Me'olah, is this word. Olah. There's a vav in there. Olah. Same root. What does al mean?
On or above.
On or above. Jerusalem above. Me'olah. When we go to Jerusalem or go to Israel, we're making aliyah. Same word. Aliyah. There's a yod.
The standing prayers in the Psalms are
Aliyah.
Aliyah.
Same word, same root.
Yes.
Above or on. So that's why there's two Jerusalems.
Is Ola the same as the offering?
Yes, yeah, the offerings, the burnt offerings are called in Hebrew olah, which means ascending, up. It's because the smoke goes up. Yes.
The signs of the north, the city of the great king, so
Yes.
the north would be above.
Yes, in Psalm 48 it says, Jerusalem, the city on the sides of the north, city of the great king, the city on the sides of the north, and it's not north of anything except north up. Yeah, exactly right. So we have Yerushalayim me'olah. Say me'olah.
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 All right, and that means Jerusalem raised or Jerusalem above. Yes? Okay. I just saw this for the first time in my life this morning. Go to Psalm 68. I never saw this before. I always wondered, where did the rabbis get this? Where is it in the Bible? Yerushalayim me'olah, Jerusalem above or Jerusalem high, ascended. Where is that in the Bible? Well, here it is. I just saw it for the first time this morning. And by the way, I only saw it because I was reading the TLV version of the Bible. The Tree of Life version, they translate it properly. I've never seen it translated properly in any other Bible. Psalm 68, 29. Verse 28. Your God has charged your strength, or established your strength. Show yourself strong, O God, who has acted on our behalf because of your temple above Jerusalem, is what it says in Hebrew. Al Yerushalayim.
68:29.
68:28. 29. 29. Because of your temple, Al Yerushalayim, above Jerusalem. And I checked it and checked it and checked it in every version, and I checked the Hebrew in the Gesenius and the Concordance, in the back of the Concordance. I checked the word al over and over and over again, and al means above.
Lecha al Yerushalayim.
Al Yerushalayim. So this word above, al, is very well translated above. And that's what it says here. Because of your temple above Jerusalem. Isn't that weird? How is the temple above Jerusalem?
Yeah, it's right there.
How is the temple above Jerusalem? Unless it's above Jerusalem, above the Jerusalem that's below. It's the Jerusalem that's high, that's above. Yes. That's right, it's badly translated. That's why we learn Hebrew. That's why we learn. King James is just as bad, buddy.
Give an example. That's what it looks like.
That's why we learn Hebrew. That's exactly why we learn Hebrew. So,
I know that. That's why we learn it.
that's why we learn
That's why we're
Hebrew.
doing this.
See, this right here is like a certain, it's nothing to do with.
Right. It's not even close.
That's true.
Not even
Well,
close. No, that's
why we
okay.
hear it. You
That's
have to
okay.
use something.
You got to use something. And you know what? One version,
You just confused.
well,
on what I'm-
maybe. It might do
what the
that.
Bible really says.
You got to read something,
I
you know?
just listened to you.
Okay, that's fine. So it says, I'm telling you, when I read this, I was like, what? I never saw that before. Your temple above Jerusalem. That's where they got it from. Yerushalayim me'olah. That's where they got it from. So thank you, God, for showing me.
Yes, amen.
Nobody taught me. Okay, so we got two Jerusalems. You got one below, you got one above. Everybody, every Christian, every Jew, I did the same thing, pretty much believed that God said, when he said, lech lecha, go to the land I'm showing you, that it meant Canaan. Pretty much everybody believes that. I did too. It's not. Not in any way, shape, or form. It was this Jerusalem that's the heavenly Jerusalem. That's the day of the Lord. The kingdom. That's what he showed him. So, you ever heard the phrase, the land of promise?
Yeah.
It's not the land of promise. What was Joshua trying to show the guys who were following him in the wilderness? Following Moses and Joshua in the wilderness, and then he tried to lead them into Canaan. What were they looking for? What were they looking for? A day, it said in Hebrews 4 times. He was trying to lead them into another day not a land. Not a land. Our rest is not in the land. It's not in anything physical. And it's not in anything super spiritual either. Like, oh, I'm just going to rest in the Lord. Well, what does that mean? Which is what you were saying. What does that look like? What does it mean? You know, describe it to me. Here it is. This below describes this above. Shabbat below describes Shabbat above. Anything Jewish below describes everything Jewish above. That's the land of promise. The day of the Lord. The land of promise is not a land, it's a day. So we have that he's being led to a land, an eretz, a day, a yom, a city, an ir. That song that we sang, that last one, we kept singing ir, Yerushalayim. Ir means city. And it's the same word as light, or. So he was being led to a land, a day, a city. Was there anything else? Zion, right? A land, a city, a day, which is Zion. So all the people that were around Abraham, how did they describe him? How did they describe him? Yeah, how did the people around Abraham describe Abraham? How did they see him?
I think the word that comes to me is father.
A father? What else?
Father of many.
What else?
Friend of God.
Well, no, the people around him did not describe him as that. That's from Isaiah. How did the people on earth, in Canaan, and in Ur, and in Haran, describe Abraham? Because it's in the scriptures. You don't know?
No.
Okay. Let's go to Genesis 14. As soon as you read it, you're going to go, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Genesis 14.
All right, before we read this, Lot, the nephew of Abraham, loved stuff. He loved money. He loved things. He's called righteous in Peter 4 times. So we know he was righteous. We know he was a believer. And he followed God. He followed the God of Abraham, the only God. But he was a jerk. He loved stuff. And he saw Sodom and Gomorrah. It was gorgeous. It was filled with trees. It was well watered. It's called a circle, a valley that's filled with greenery, gorgeous. And Abraham had a whole bunch of things, and Lot had a whole bunch of things, and flocks and people. And so they were like, we can't stay together. We got too much stuff. We're going to have to separate so you have more land, and I got more land. What do you want to do, Lot? And Lot goes, well, if it's okay, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that down there, that beautiful green valley. You can take what you want. And I thought it was kind of mean, kind of selfish, because Abraham, we treated him so good. He was a jerk with Abraham. Anyway, so Lot went down there. Now, when he's down there in Sodom and Gomorrah, the kings of Persia and Babylon and northern Israel all attacked some kings that were in Israel. It was a huge army. We're talking about several 100,000 man army. And they took Lot and they took everything he owned. They took everything he owned. And then Abraham found out about it, and he took 300 men. That's it. 318 men. That's all he had. And he went and he took Lot back and destroyed these huge armies. I don't know how he did it. It was just God.
Yeah.
But that's what he did. And he took back all that stuff. When he took back all that stuff, now we're in chapter 14 about the War of the Kings. And the description of him in verse 13. Somebody read verse 13.
One who has escaped from and reported this to Abraham the Hebrew.
Well, okay, there it is.
The Hebrew.
That's it.
The Hebrew.
That's the only thing they had to describe this dude as. He's an Ivri. He's a Hebrew.
He crosses over.
Crossed over. He is an Ivri. Ivri.
Abraham the Hebrew.
That's Hebrew. In English, we say Hebrew. And what it means is one from the other side. One who crosses over. So, He's a weirdo. He's a stranger. He don't belong.
He's an immigrant.
He's an immigrant.
He's an immigrant.
But the thing is, where's he an immigrant from?
Right.
Because God told him, leave, go to you. Leave your land, leave your birth, and go to you. And now they're calling him a guy from the other side. So my question is, other side of what? Like, where did he come from?
Other side of himself.
The river?
He didn't cross water.
The day of the Lord.
The dreamer.
The dreamer, right. That's why they called him the guy from the other side. Because his mind was here. He'd already seen it. And he spent 100 years living it, feeling it, doing it. 100 years. And they see this dude and they're like, your mind's somewhere else, guy.
We're in this world, but we're not of it.
We're in this world, but we're not of it.
In the
Exactly.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah. But that's why Yeshua said that. We're in this world and not of it. It's the same concept. Yeah.
As a Holocaust educator, there's always people, they want to be intellectually or historically correct, and they always think, well, anti-Semitism started when this happened, but it started as soon as Abraham saw the day of the
That's
Lord.
exactly
I
right.
agree.
That's exactly right.
Sure.
Because when he saw this kingdom, and he saw it, and he rejoiced to see it, as soon as he saw that, the whole world was against him.
And that's why, believe it or not, the Jews is the person.
That's right. Because the Jewish people, for the most part, our heads are somewhere else.
Right.
They're here.
That's right.
Our heads are here. They're not here on this planet.
We're
They're
against the
here.
system.
They're on the Shabbat. They're on the day of the Lord. They're on the kingdom. They're on the heavenly things. They're on the new Jerusalem. They're on Zion, the city, the land, the day. That's what we think about. Even Jews who are pagan Jews, we can't get away from it. God's in our blood. This is in our blood. The day of the Lord is inside of us. And we can't get away from it. So, of course, he's an Ivri from the other side. An immigrant.
Yeah.
Except we're not immigrants from anywhere on the planet.
Right.
Well, it makes sense because if God has given us our soul, we're looking back to get back to that spot.
That's right.
Place.
That's right.
Yeah.
God gave us our soul
Yeah.
from
And,
here,
and we
and
know
we want to get back there.
And we know we don't belong here.
Yeah.
So we just know.
I'm saying all this because it's in the Bible, but also because it takes a long time to get to know you. It takes a long time for us to get to know ourselves. A long time.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you can figure out where you're from, you might be able to get back there. But if you can't figure out where you're from, if you think you're from your parents, you're wrong.
Right.
And you're constantly going to be frustrated. He says, leave your land and your birth. Leave your birth. Leave it. I'm going to show you another thing where you're really from. So this is why the word Ivri, which also, confused me for a long time. Big deal, he's an Ivri. He's from the other side of the river, I guess. It's much, much, much bigger than that.
Oh, God, yeah.
Much bigger than that. The Hebrew is the kingdom. Somebody who's a Hebrew or wants Hebrew roots or is attracted to Hebrew things, it's because they're attracted to the kingdom. Christians included. They're attracted to the kingdom. You who are believers, you're attracted. There's something inside of you that is sucking you toward this time period because that's where we're headed and that's what's important to God. And it's like drawing you, sucking you toward it. You don't know why. You end up with all this Jew stuff. You think it's a coincidence you met this Gentile doing Judaism. It's not. It's not. It's not a coincidence. You're being sucked toward it.
Yeah, and the enemy's plan is always to not allow that day of the Lord to come.
Right.
Yes.
And so he's got to destroy
And
every
to
Jew, every Christian, and that was Hitler's plan. And that's
So
the plan.
if you were to destroy the whole plant or the whole tree of believers, of Jews, Christians, of Hebrews, if you were going to destroy that whole thing, who would you go to cut off the head? Because you can't kill Yeshua. Where would you go? Who's the head of that whole thing? Who's the
Abraham.
root
Abraham.
of that whole thing?
Abraham.
What do you think?
Well, no.
You think Abraham?
That's
What do you
partial.
think?
Well,
If you were the enemy, okay, let me say this a different way. You got this dude, he's 100 years old, he's 75 years old. He then lives 100 years with his mind on this time period. He's somewhere else. His mind is somewhere else. He's weird. And he's getting richer and richer and richer. And then he has a kid who has kids. At the age of 100, he has a kid. And you can't kill this seed. And he gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's believers after Yeshua. And then there's Jews. Millions and millions and millions of Jews. And you just can't stop this thing. And then comes believers, Christians, and they can start getting sucked into it. If you were to kill the whole thing from the root, how would you do that? Who would you go to kill it?
I'd throw the story away.
Well, who would you attack to kill it?
Son,
Every single one of the prophets saw the
The whole thing.
Yeah, but who would you go to kill to get rid of this whole story, the whole message?
Today or when?
If you're the enemy. Doesn't matter when, because there's no time.
the head, the head.
You go to Yeshua?
You said the head.
The head or the root? You can look at it.
Well, the whole concept is destroying God and taking God out of the whole picture.
Okay, here's what I'm going to
Much
say.
like today.
That's what most people believe. You'd attack God. Satan comes from God. In the scriptures, Hasatan goes before God. He is a minister of God. He's an angel, well, kind of an angel, a spirit of God. He is submitted to God. He has to go before the bar in heaven, just like everybody else. He can't attack God. So how would you do it if you couldn't attack God?
Attack man.
Attack God's son.
This is what I would do.
Abraham and
I'd attack Abraham. He's the root that spawned the whole thing in the beginning. And that's what it says in Romans. He's the father of everybody who has faith.
Right.
Everybody.
And
Let's go to Romans 4.
like the word though too, you're attacking.
Well, I'm thinking, I want to try to take you back to the root, to the beginning. Remember that vision you had about the root? That's where I'm trying to get you. I'm trying to get you to think like that vision.
There's room temperature.
Okay, Romans 4.
Stuff in the fridge.
Romans 4. Verse 3. What does the scripture say? And Abraham believed God, and it was reckoned to him as righteousness. What did he believe him about? Did he believe him he was going to have a son? Did he believe him about... What did he believe him about?
The dead.
Yes.
That's what he believed.
He showed him the city, the day, Zion. He showed it to him, and he believed him. And that's why he said, I guess I could have a child and have a whole bunch of Jews. I guess I could do that. I guess that's true. Because he'd already seen this. If he hadn't seen this, there'd be no hope that anything would ever come together. None. Verse 10. How was it reckoned to him? While he was a Jew? While he was circumcised? Or a Gentile? Uncircumcised? Yeah, he was a Gentile when God showed him the day of the Lord. He was a Gentile. And he received the sign, the picture of circumcision, which is a seal of the righteousness of the faith that he already had while he was uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all who believe. Period. He's the father of all who believe. Jew, Gentile, circumcised, uncircumcised. But the thing is, what do you believe in?
Well, it would be.
This is what he showed him. This is what he showed him.
Those who believe in that.
Those who believe. Well, most believers don't know what the day of the Lord is. But if they're taught what it is, they'll see it and they'll believe it.
Yeah.
Just like you.
it's pretty clear.
So this is the key. It's not believing the Lord Jesus Christ and you and your house shall be saved. That's like the end of the story. The beginning of the story is people need to know what the day of the Lord is so you have hope of what are we shooting for?
Well, it starts in Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2 where it tells us about the Shabbat.
That's correct.
True.
That's correct.
It's at the very
Shabbat
beginning.
starts in Genesis 1 and
That's
2.
right.
All right, let's go to verse, same chapter.
Israel starts in Genesis 1.
Okay, we saw in verse 3, those who he believed God, and it was given to him as righteousness. Verse 9, is this the blessing then upon the circumcised or upon the uncircumcised too? For we say faith was reckoned to Abraham as righteousness. Now he says that because Abraham was a Gentile. That's why he's saying it. So he says, faith, he believed God, it was called righteousness. Well, How did that happen? Did that happen when he was a Jew or when he was a Gentile? And then so it quotes again, Abraham believed, and that was his righteousness as a Gentile. And then it says it again, that he was a Gentile. All right, verse 22. Therefore also it was reckoned to him as righteousness. He was the beginning. He's the root. And he was an Ivri, a Hebrew, not a Jew. Not a Jew. Not a Jew. He was a Jewtile.
There weren't any Jews.
Yeah,
He was a
right.
Jewtile. He was a
Right.
Jew-Gentile. He was a mixture. He was not a Jew and he was not a Gentile.
He was a-
Because Gentiles don't have their mind on this. Gentiles have their mind on this. Today. That's all Gentiles think about is today. That's all we think about. Today. Today. That's why Yeshua said, don't worry about today. Today's got enough worries of its own. Think about the kingdom. That's why he said that. Don't worry about today. Think about the kingdom. Because this
It
has got...
says, don't worry about tomorrow.
No, it says in one of the Gospels, don't worry about today what you shall eat and what you shall drink.
Right.
Don't worry about
That's what it
today.
says today.
Where it says the morrow.
Think about the kingdom. Put your mind on the kingdom. Because that's what Abraham did, and he was the father of all of us, Jew and Gentile, who believe. All right. That's what I got. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, so then am I a Hebrew?
No.
Are
Yes.
you crossing over?
Yes.
I am crossing.
Yes, you are.
Did you cross over?
In that context,
Listen, it used to bother me so much. Gentiles would say, "Oh, we're studying Hebrew roots," and they would start talking like, "But you're not Jewish." It would just grate on me. Now, because I understand what Hebrew is and why it is, I can say, "Yeah, you're a Hebrew. Study Hebrew roots.
Yes.
You are a Hebrew. You're crossing over to
Yeah.
this other side."
When you got born again, you became a Hebrew. You crossed over.
That's right.
When you learn
That's
anything,
the
you are
difference.
constantly crossing over.
That's
It's,
right.
it's a multiple step process.
Yeah, for 100 years for him.
In my head for like the past couple, I'm sorry, to interrupt you.
No, you're.
In my head for the past couple of weeks though, I keep, I'm just tossing around the revelation that, everybody was a pagan. Everybody was really just a bunch of pagans. I mean, there weren't Hebrews or Jews or anything set apart until God revealed it to Abraham.
Right?
So when you go back to, I don't know how to say what I'm saying, but I mean, we're just
There were
all
very
basically
few.
the same.
There were very few who saw this.
Yes.
Noah, Enoch,
Job.
Methuselah,
Job.
Job, well, I'm thinking way back.
Okay.
Job, Arphaxad, Shem, Arphaxad, Shem, and a couple others, and that's it. And up to the time of Abraham.
Would you say Abel, because of the way he
Abel,
sacrificed-
yes,
the way he
yes.
sacrificed?
Abel.
well.
Very
Okay,
few
though.
saw this. And they're the ones who are called righteous.
Did you say
The ones that are
Shem?
listed.
Shem, yes.
And the sons of Shem?
No.
They began to call on the Lord.
Well, selected sons of Shem, not all of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
And then in about Noah's son, Japheth. Is that how you-
Japheth.
Japheth.
Yaphet.
Japhet. And it talks about how Japhet will go into the tent of Shem. That's sort of the lesson. So did he at that time, or is that something just futuristic?
That is very futuristic about
Uh-huh,
believers.
right,
Yaphet is Greece.
That's, that's.
Yaphet is Greece,
Right,
which is
uh-huh.
heaven, which is the Greeks, which is
Okay.
Christians,
Yeah.
basically.
And the people that settled in Armenia as well. And that's why the Armenian genocide is very picturesque of that scripture.
So you, as you're reading the Bible, the guys that are in the Bible are in the Bible because they saw this. The good ones. That's the only reason they're even in the Bible. because they saw this, and it made them righteous. They believed it. I believe that.
Okay, you said that, that they called him Ivri. What did they see in him? That he was not like them? That he was
Yeah.
different, and that's why they called him an Ivri? In other words, you're...
Well, hold on. He was a preacher, and they a lot of stories in the Talmud say that he was a huge preacher. I mean, he preached to everybody monotheism, and that he had his tent open on all four sides. He was very welcoming, very hospitable, and he would welcome all the pagans in to learn about this.
That sounds like.
This. And so it wasn't an arbitrary sort of like, wispy thing. They know this guy is weird. I mean, he's weird. He's out there preaching all this weird stuff, just like Noah.
One of my favorite stories in the Talmud is about where he's preaching to his dad about the idols.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I
Yes.
love that story.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just so cool because I don't know if y'all have heard it, but it's just really neat
Tell
because
it.
his dad, Terah, was an idol maker,
Hit
right?
the microphone.
So then, that's okay.
Well, we need to hear you.
Okay. So his dad was an idol maker, and it was really neat because the Lord started showing him. He's like, okay, he's like, Lord, where's God? Like he wants to know what's real. And he's like, okay, if it's in the sun, then that's what I'll worship. And then all of a sudden the sun is gone, and here comes the moon. Well, then, the moon, maybe the moon, I'll worship the moon. And all of a sudden it's cloudy, and the clouds are covering it. Okay, and so it's not there. So then it's the wind. So he realizes God is not seen. We don't see God. Okay, so he's the ruach. There's the wind. So what he does is he goes to his father's idol shop, and he breaks all the idols except the largest one. Okay. And then when the father
And
comes
he puts the stick
The hammer.
in the hand,
Hammer and the stick.
in the hand of the
Yeah.
largest idol. And the father Terah comes in the morning, he's like, what happened? He's like, the biggest one did that. He destroyed all the other, the biggest idol did that. He destroyed
deal.
all the others. And he's like, an idol can't do that. He's like, exactly.
Bingo.
Exactly.
Why are you worshiping?
Why are you worshiping?
That's good.
I love it.
So he was a weird guy, and everybody knew it.
Point.
The city above Jerusalem and the city below Jerusalem.
No, Jerusalem, the city above, and Jerusalem, the city below.
Right, well, that would be referred to, what would you say? The city above Jerusalem being Jerusalem, what would that be referring to in the city below? Two different cities.
Yeah.
One is on earth,
One is on earth and one is in
heaven.
Okay, well, I'm believing that, one in heaven, on the third heaven, that's correct. One not on the earth, but in the earth is Abraham's bosom. That's the third, that's the city below Jerusalem. Because we go there to.
You're sort of right. You're sort of right. I'm glad you brought that up. Abraham's bosom, it's called Abraham's bosom. Abraham's heart. Abraham's heart. In Hebrew,
We're in paradise too, but it's living hell.
Abraham's heart is what it is, not Abraham's bosom. In Hebrew, it's Abraham's heart.
Love.
And it is a picture of the kingdom. We call it paradise. It's a picture of the kingdom. That is going to be replaced by the real thing. It's not, it's kind of like, it's a temporary
It is, yeah.
paradise.
It's like
But you're right.
paradise, just temporary.
You're right.
Adam and Eve, when they lived on this earth, it was paradise until they sinned. And then after the way, they grew up and everything.
And that was a temporary paradise.
It's a temporary.
Very good. Very good.
So many people think they go straight to the third heaven when they die.
They don't.
He's looking, my son's looking down on me, he's helping me. No, you go down to the earth, you go right next to hell, and the dogs become you.
You go into the earth. That's
To
right.
Abraham's heart or bosom, which
Heart.
to the Lord. Then when Jesus Christ comes back, the dead in Christ will rise,
In the
or
resurrection.
else why would he come down there would be no reason to come down because we're all.
That's right, everybody be there. Yeah, we talked about all that, back at Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Trumpets, called a month and a half. We talked about all that.
Somebody just, interested in talking to Pastor Joseph Chambers, North Carolina. He's a prophetic pastor, and most of his life is paid now. And he has a huge knowledge of the second coming of Revelation, Ezekiel, and Daniel. He's got a toll-free number, 800-338-7884.
What's his name, Chambers?
Chambers.
I'll look at it from the interweb.
You can check him out on paulcreek.com, or Paul Creek Ministries.
Okay.
But he has a lot to, a lot of times people come to me, when you're in different ministries, you're not privy to everything in this world, everything in life. You're in direct certain things. And people, when they come to me about the future things, what's the second coming, and pre-trib, and all that, I believe in pre-trib anyway. But I was directing to him because he has a plethora of information, way back to cassettes and everything. He's done a huge study on Daniel, Ezekiel, and Revelation, the future books of the Bible.
Do you know that all books of the Bible are future books of the Bible? Yeah, every single one of
But
them.
in their ways,
Every-
but the Old Testament is in the past, and in the
No.
New Testament, in other words, it's
Every book of the Bible, the person that's recorded or reported it, this is what they recorded.
right.
Every single
It's a,
one.
it's a, it's a thing looking forward,
Mhm.
forward.
Every single prophet.
But, in other words, we can glean from the Old Testament, but most people, most people, even pastors, deal mostly in the past. And if you deal in the past all the time, most of the time, you're looking in your rearview mirror, you go to red.
Right.
You got to be dealing in the present because if you're not ready for the present, you're not ready for the future.
Daniel,
Yeah,
are you going to get the wine?
I don't know that we have any, I'm looking.
Okay.
I don't think we have any.
Let's have some challah.
They know we have to
Then what? What do I do?
Take it out.
Get the salt.
Are there any plates?
Bring the salt.
Napkins?
Yeah,
What's that?
Where are plates?
Did anybody bring food?
Yes.
Okay.
food over there.
Well,
Any plates?
then let's have a challah over there then.
Yes.
All I brought was a little cheese ball and some crackers and some.
It's more than nothing.
Let's go over there.
You brought a chicken?
There's no wine in here.
I don't hear it.
Let's go over
Brought
here.
some wine.
Let's make our way to the food table.
Where's the plates? Dad, you know there's plates?
As soon as I finish getting this,
Look for the plates.
plates are on their way. Be a judge energy.
Let's pray and then we'll go through this. Okay. Come here, Daniel and Daniel. Dan and Dan. Incorporated.